So meeting Donald Trump, how did you meet him?
We met at a party, and you could read the whole chapter in the book. I love the vision that he had.
For years, the world has watched Melania Trump and Donald Trump present a united image in front of cameras. Yet questions about their marriage have never disappeared. Every public appearance, every awkward moment, and every headline has fueled endless debate about what really happens behind closed doors. Now, after decades together, Melania has made comments that many believe reveal who truly holds the title of the love of her life. Was it simply a heartfelt declaration, or is there a much deeper story hidden beneath years of public scrutiny? Today, we're taking a closer look at one of America's most talked about relationships. The relationship that changed everything. Long before becoming First Lady of the United States, Melania Trump had already established herself as a successful international model. Born in what is now Slovenia, she spent years building her career across Europe before moving to New York City in search of greater opportunities. Known for her discipline and determination, she focused almost entirely on her profession, avoiding the party lifestyle often associated with the fashion industry. Her dedication helped her stand out, but few could have imagined that her life was about to change forever. That turning point came in 1998 at a New York Fashion Week party hosted by Polo Zampoli, where she met Donald Trump for the first time. Another woman, his attention quickly shifted to Melania. Rather than giving him her phone number, she asked for his instead, wanting to see if he was genuinely interested. Donald handed over every contact number he had, and after waiting several days, Melania finally called. She later recalled being impressed by his confidence, energy, and determination. As their romance grew, it attracted intense media attention because Donald was already one of America's best-known businessmen. Although they briefly separated around 2000 during Donald's early political ambitions, the breakup was short-lived. They soon reunited, and their relationship emerged stronger, laying the foundation for a marriage that would later become one of the most scrutinized in modern political history. Over the following years, their relationship became increasingly serious. Friends and observers watched as Melania became one of the most important figures in Donald's personal life. While she rarely spoke publicly about her emotions, her actions suggested that she had become deeply committed to the relationship. Reports later emerged claiming that she privately believed Donald might already be the love of her life from the very beginning, though those claims have remained part of ongoing public speculation rather than confirmed fact. The transcript presents these reports alongside Melania's own recollections of their early connection. Everything changed again in 2004 when Donald proposed during the Met Gala. Melania later described the proposal as a complete surprise and expressed how happy they were together. Less than a year later, in January 2005, they married in an extravagant ceremony at Mar-a-Lago, surrounded by celebrities, politicians, and business leaders. The lavish wedding instantly became one of the biggest celebrity events of the year and symbolized the beginning of a new chapter in both of their lives. Following the wedding, Melania publicly described the occasion as fantastic and said they had enjoyed every moment. Donald, known for his larger-than-life personality, even joked about why they chose to spend their honeymoon at home rather than traveling to a tropical destination. While the comment reflected his trademark humor, it also illustrated the confidence he had in their new life together. In 2006, Donald and Melania welcomed their only child, Barron Trump, marking a new chapter in their lives. Although Donald had once joked that Melania would handle most parenting duties while he focused on business, he later admitted that fatherhood changed him. He spoke warmly about caring for Barron and enjoying time with his son. As the years passed, the couple faced growing public attention through business, politics, and life in the White House. Every appearance sparked headlines and speculation, leaving many to wonder whether their public displays of affection reflected a strong marriage, or whether a different story existed behind closed doors. Public affection or a carefully crafted image? As Donald Trump's political profile grew, so did public fascination with his marriage to Melania. Every appearance together was scrutinized, with supporters viewing their interactions as signs of a strong partnership, while critics questioned whether their affection seemed reserved. Long before entering the White House, the couple regularly attended sporting events, charity galas, and celebrity functions, where they were often photographed smiling and posing together. Donald frequently described their marriage as stable and praised Melania's support, while she emphasized that being married to someone in the public eye required confidence, independence, and intelligence. Their lives changed dramatically in 2016 when Donald launched his presidential campaign. Suddenly, Melania found herself under intense global scrutiny. At the Republican National Convention, she publicly praised Donald's character, kindness, and love for America, delivering one of her strongest endorsements and reinforcing the image of a united family during a pivotal moment in his political journey. During the convention, Donald and Melania shared several affectionate moments, including a kiss, an embrace, and waving to supporters. While supporters saw these gestures as signs of a strong marriage, some body language commentators viewed them as formal and restrained, arguing they lacked spontaneity. Others dismissed those interpretations as purely speculative. Regardless of which interpretation people accepted, the discussion itself demonstrated just how fascinated the public had become with their marriage. Even an ordinary greeting or brief embrace was enough to dominate television discussions and newspaper headlines. The attention continued after Donald entered the White House in January 2017. His inauguration became another historic occasion where every movement between the president and First Lady was carefully examined. Throughout the day's ceremonies, the couple was frequently seen holding hands as they walked between official events. During the Liberty inaugural ball, Donald publicly thanked Melania, calling her his #1 supporter before they shared their first dance as President and First Lady. To supporters, those moments reflected a couple celebrating one of the greatest achievements of their lives together. To skeptics, however, the interactions still appeared reserved. Some observers claimed that if they had not already known the two were married, they might not have immediately recognized the relationship simply by watching their body language. Those opinions remained highly subjective, but they continued fueling public curiosity. Over the next several years, Donald and Melania Trump appeared together at countless diplomatic events, state ceremonies, and meetings with world leaders, placing their relationship under constant public scrutiny. One widely discussed moment occurred during French President Emmanuel Macron's state visit, when Donald leaned in to kiss Melania. Her wide-brimmed hat made the gesture awkward, resulting in a brief air kiss that quickly spread across television broadcasts and social media. Another memorable occasion came during a White House event honoring military mothers and military spouses, where Donald embraced Melania and thanked her for organizing the celebration before giving her a quick kiss. Although their public displays of affection were rare, Melania continued supporting Donald throughout his presidency, appearing beside him at major events and speeches. After both recovered from COVID-19 in 2020, they resumed public appearances together. Even so, every interaction fueled renewed speculation, making their marriage one of America's most closely watched relationships. Rumors, rising tensions, and the controversies that refused to disappear. For years, Donald and Melania Trump appeared together at some of the world's biggest political events. Yet, as time passed, the public conversation surrounding their marriage gradually shifted. Instead of focusing on moments of affection, many observers became increasingly interested in what they believed were signs of emotional distance. Every handshake, every brief interaction, and every facial expression became the subject of endless discussion online. One reason those conversations gained momentum was the growing popularity of body language analysis. Television programs, magazines, and social media creators frequently invited experts to interpret the Trumps' public appearances. While these interpretations were opinions rather than confirmed facts, they often generated enormous public interest. Some commentators believed Melania appeared happier during earlier interviews, particularly when discussing how she and Donald first met. They pointed to her expressions and mannerisms as signs that she genuinely enjoyed recalling the beginning of their relationship. However, those same commentators claimed that years later, particularly during Donald's presidential campaigns, her public demeanor seemed noticeably more restrained. They argued that her smiles appeared less natural, and that her enthusiasm seemed more limited than before. These observations remained subjective, but they fueled continued speculation about the state of their marriage. Another frequently discussed moment came during Donald's inauguration in 2017. While supporters viewed the ceremony as a celebration of their journey together, others focused on subtle interactions between the couple. Some analysts suggested that Donald appeared more physically affectionate than Melania during certain moments, while others argued that it was impossible to draw meaningful conclusions from brief public appearances surrounded by security personnel, world leaders, and hundreds of cameras. As the years continued, isolated clips from official events often spread rapidly across social media. Some showed Melania walking several steps behind Donald, while others highlighted occasions where the two appeared focused on different responsibilities during official ceremonies. Without knowing what was happening outside the camera's frame, viewers frequently reached different conclusions, yet the discussions rarely disappeared. Melania appeared emotionally reserved during significant public events. Following the passing of her mother in early 2024, observers noted that she appeared deeply saddened while attending the funeral alongside Donald. Some commentators interpreted the lack of visible physical comfort between them as evidence of emotional distance, while others pointed out that grief affects people differently, and that public appearances rarely reveal the full reality of private relationships. Ultimately, none of those observations provided definitive answers, but they kept public curiosity alive. While speculation about body language continued, another controversy would generate even greater attention. The Sotrai next turns to allegations involving adult film actress Stormy Daniels, whose claims became central to one of Donald Trump's criminal cases. According to the transcript, Daniels testified that she met Donald during a celebrity golf tournament in 2006 and later visited his hotel suite after accepting an invitation to dinner. She described conversations they allegedly had and testified about an encounter that Donald has consistently denied occurred. The legal case focused not on proving the alleged affair itself, but on accusations that business records were falsified in connection with a payment made during the 2016 presidential campaign. Donald pleaded not guilty to the charges and denied the allegations. The legal proceedings quickly became one of the most closely watched trials in the country. Stormy Daniels testified extensively, while Donald Trump's legal team challenged her credibility and argued he had committed no wrongdoing. Donald repeatedly criticized the case, describing it as politically motivated. As media attention intensified, focus shifted to Melania and how she viewed the controversy. Publicly, she maintained that rumors surrounding her husband's alleged affairs were not her priority, saying she remained focused on her responsibilities as a mother and First Lady. When asked if the allegations had hurt her, she admitted they were unpleasant, but emphasized that she concentrated on what she believed to be true rather than public gossip. Reports also suggested Melania privately viewed the trial as unfair and politically damaging. Despite her limited comments, speculation surrounding the couple never faded. Every court appearance and public event reignited debate over their marriage, while new rumors about separate bedrooms and increasingly independent lives added another layer to the ongoing public fascination. Life behind the headlines. As years passed, public curiosity about Donald and Melania Trump's marriage extended far beyond campaign rallies and White House events. Increasingly, attention shifted toward reports about their private lives. Stories circulated claiming the couple maintained separate bedrooms, spent significant amounts of time apart, and followed largely independent daily routines. Although such reports generated enormous media interest, much of the discussion relied on anonymous sources and remained impossible to verify publicly. Even so, the speculation became another chapter in one of America's most closely watched marriages. Rumors about separate sleeping arrangements dated back many years, long before Donald left the White House. Various reports suggested that even when living under the same roof, the couple often occupied different bedrooms. Those claims resurfaced repeatedly during Donald's presidency, particularly after Melania delayed moving to Washington, D.C., choosing instead to remain in New York while their son, Barron, completed the school year. That decision immediately sparked rumors that there were deeper problems within the marriage, although Melania publicly explained that her priority was ensuring Barron experienced as little disruption as possible during a major transition in their family's life. This also points out that Donald himself reportedly explained that Melania simply appreciated having her own private space where she could read or spend quiet time alone. While many people viewed separate bedrooms as unusual for a married couple, others argued that such arrangements are more common than most realize. In fact, surveys referenced in the transcript noted that a significant number of married couples choose separate sleeping arrangements for practical reasons, including different schedules, sleep habits, or personal preferences rather than relationship problems. Despite those explanations, speculation surrounding the Trumps never truly disappeared. As Donald Trump's political career accelerated, he won the 2016 election and became the 45th President of the United States. His presidency was marked by major controversies, 2 impeachments, the COVID-19 pandemic, and his 2020 election loss. After winning the 2024 election, he returned to the White House, with Melania remaining by his side. Melania's own role as First Lady also attracted enormous attention. Unlike previous presidential spouses, she did not immediately relocate to Washington following Donald's inauguration in 2017. Instead, she remained in New York with Barron until the school year concluded, a decision that generated extensive media coverage. While critics questioned the arrangement, supporters argued that she was simply prioritizing her son's stability during an already overwhelming period of change. Once Melania officially became First Lady, she made history as only the second foreign-born First Lady and the first naturalized U.S. citizen to hold the role. Unlike many of her predecessors, she maintained a relatively low public profile, choosing carefully selected appearances over constant media exposure. During her time in the White House, she hosted International Women's Day events, visited children's hospitals, accompanied Donald on major diplomatic trips, and visited Vatican City, where Pope Francis blessed her rosary beads. However, her tenure was not without controversy. She faced criticism over references to her former jewelry business on the White House website, and later sued the Daily Mail over false claims about her past, saying the allegations caused significant emotional distress. Another widely discussed moment came during the Trumps' 2017 visit to Israel, when a brief interaction between the couple went viral and sparked widespread speculation. Despite the headlines, Melania's journey from a young model in Slovenia to one of the world's most recognizable First Ladies remains an extraordinary and remarkable personal story. From a small town to the White House, and a love story still under the microscope. Before the world knew her as Melania Trump, she was Melania Navs, a young girl growing up in what is now Slovenia. Long before the cameras, political campaigns, and endless media attention, she lived a life that looked very different from the one millions recognize today. Raised in a modest family, Melania developed an interest in fashion at an early age. Although she initially considered becoming a fashion designer, her future took a different direction after she was discovered by photographer Stijn Jerko while attending a fashion event as a teenager. According to the transcript, that unexpected meeting opened the door to a professional modeling career that would eventually take her across Europe and later to the United States. As her career gained momentum, Melania worked in several European fashion capitals before relocating to New York City in the mid-1990s. Starting over in America was not easy. She arrived at an age when many considered new models to be past their prime for launching an international career. Nevertheless, she remained focused, avoided distractions, and dedicated herself to establishing a name in one of the world's most competitive industries. Over time, those efforts paid off as she secured larger opportunities, including prominent advertising campaigns that increased her visibility within the fashion world. Although she later faced questions about her immigration paperwork and early work history, she eventually obtained legal authorization to work in the United States and continued expanding her career. Everything changed when she met Donald Trump in 1998. What began as a chance encounter at a Fashion Week event eventually evolved into one of the most recognizable marriages in modern American politics. Together, they experienced extraordinary milestones that few couples could ever imagine. A lavish wedding, the birth of their son Barron, life inside the White House, worldwide diplomatic visits, multiple presidential campaigns, and constant public attention, unlike almost any other family in America. Yet alongside those achievements came years of speculation. Throughout their marriage, the public repeatedly questioned their relationship. Stories about separate bedrooms, viral moments during official appearances, body language analysis, legal controversies, and political pressures all contributed to a narrative that often overshadowed their own public statements. While many observers believed they saw signs of tension, others argued that no outsider could truly understand what happened behind closed doors. Much of the debate ultimately reflected interpretation rather than confirmed fact. Today, the story of Donald and Melania Trump continues to generate enormous interest around the world. Supporters see a couple who have endured extraordinary public pressure while remaining together through decades of triumphs and controversies. Critics continue examining every interaction for clues about what may be happening behind the scenes. Between those competing viewpoints lies a relationship that has remained one of the most analyzed marriages in modern political history. Perhaps that is why Melania's comments continue attracting attention. For some people, they serve as confirmation that Donald truly is the love of her life. For others, they leave room for continued questions about what only the couple themselves can fully understand. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain: their story remains one of the most fascinating and closely followed relationships of the 21st century, and public curiosity shows little sign of disappearing anytime soon. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Melania and Donald Trump's relationship has sparked countless headlines, debates, and opinions for decades, and it's likely those conversations will continue for years to come. Now we'd love to hear your perspective. Do you believe their marriage has remained strong despite the controversies? Or do you think the public only sees part of the story? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth celebrity stories, political biographies, and fascinating untold histories. We'll see you in the next video.